Oh, okay. Court's back in session.
Hope you enjoyed that extended lunch today. Who's your next witness, by the way?
It would be Charly Castelbuono.
Okay. She's testified here several times before.
Yes.
And I mixed her up with Chelsea, somebody from our kids.
That's what we realized afterwards.
All rise. All right, please be seated. How was lunch today?
Right, right.
Good. And free. All right, we're ready to get started. Who's the next witness?
Be Miss Charly Castelbuono.
And Mr. Hopkins, will you stipulate that she's an expert in DNA? All right.
Raise your right hand and face it.
Do you swear to tell the truth, so you got?
I do. Would you please state your name and spell your last name for the court reporter? Or actually your first and last name for the court reporter?
My name is Charly, Charly, Castelbuono, Castelbuono.
Ms. Castelbuono, where are you employed?
I'm employed at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
And what is your position there?
I am a special agent forensic scientist within the Forensic Biology Unit.
And does that particular unit conduct DNA testing for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Crime Laboratory?
Yes, we do.
And what is the jurisdiction of cases that the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation performs testing for?
We test cases from all over the state of Tennessee.
If you would, please, did you bring with you a curriculum vitae or professional resume to assist with your testimony today? And I believe I have a copy if you would like to look and see if that's accurate.
Yes, it is.
And Your Honor, at this time, we'd ask that her curriculum vitae be made the next exhibit, please.
Okay, that'd be 23 rather, excuse me.
And I'm not going to go through everything that's listed on your curriculum vitae, but just to give the jury a little bit of an idea, could you please tell them about your educational background and specifically what areas you have worked in and have publications in?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Biology from Berry College. I also have a Master of Science in Forensic Science from the University of Central Florida. As you mentioned, I had a couple of publications, one from undergraduate research I did, another that was actually my thesis research during my master's program. I've been with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation since October of 2011. I started that position after exiting graduate school, so I've been working in the DNA unit since then.
In addition to your academic training, being a special agent with the TBI, have you received other specific training for your duties?
We have to have at least 8 hours of continuing education every year. We also keep up with literature review throughout the year. I also, in 2014, became certified by the American Board of Criminalistics and Molecular Biology.
Now, does the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation conduct Y-Str testing?
Yes, we do.
And does the TBI also do STR testing?
Yes.
And prior to the Metro Crime Lab being developed a few years back, were the Metro laboratory testing requests sent to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation?
That's correct.
How long has the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation actually been doing Y-Str testing?
We started doing Y-Str testing in July of 2016.
And specifically, are you one of those DNA experts who conducts the actual Y-Str testing?
Yes, I am.
And did you have an occasion to become involved in testing certain objects or evidence that were submitted to you from the Metro Crime Laboratory concerning a criminal investigation into the death of Johanna Ortega?
Yes, I was.
And when your particular lab receives an evidence submittal, does your agency actually give it its own unique identifying tracking number?
Yes, any case that comes into lab receives a unique laboratory case number, and then each item within that case will get an exhibit number.
So your particular lab number and your particular exhibit number will be different than the lab number and the exhibit number for the Metro Crime Laboratory, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So while, just hypothetically speaking, the Metro Crime Laboratory may list something as exhibit number 5, you might list it as your exhibit number 8.
Correct.
Now, have you had an opportunity when you did your testing to document your findings from your testing into an official forensic biology report?
Yes, I did.
And was that one all-encompassing report that was issued from September 19th of 2017?
Yes.
And if I can hand this to you, please. Do you recognize that to be an accurate copy of the aforementioned lab report?
Yes, it appears to be so.
Your Honor, at this time, we would ask that the TBI lab report be the state's next exhibit.
Number 24.
And if I may have that back in just a moment. Ms. Castelbuono, the way, the format for your lab report, and for the record, I am placing the exhibit on the overhead. Much in the way that the Metro Crime Laboratory produces its reports, do you have the first section of your report listing the description of the piece of evidence and then what exhibit number your lab has associated with it?
Yes.
And then at the bottom and then the next pages, do you state for what the results are of your testing?
Yes.
And those results would then cross-reference back to the exhibit number on the first page?
That's correct.
Now, because of the number of items that were tested in this matter, and in order to make it easier to understand, did you participate in the creation and review of a DNA summary chart that contains the information that is in this report?
Yes.
Now I'll hand you this 2-page document. And ask you if you recognize that to be a copy of that summary of your report.
Yes. I believe there was also 8W at the very bottom,
Oh, let me,
that may be on a third page.
I think I may have left that page off the printer, but we can talk about that at the end, and maybe you can just write it down if that will work. Okay, remind me of that. Your Honor, at this time, we would ask to make that 2-page document an exhibit
Number 25.
and ask permission to publish to the jury.
All right.
Yes, it is.
And does this reflect the date that you issued your report?
Yes.
And what do we have in this left column?
That is the TBI exhibit number.
And on exhibit number 8A, what is the description of that evidence?
DNA extract from swabs of triple taped end of yellow karate belt.
And what type of testing did you perform and what were your results, if any?
So I performed Y-Str DNA testing, and my result was the Y-Str profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 males. Due to the limited profile obtained and the unknown number of potential contributors, this profile is deemed to be inconclusive.
So you were able to make no determinations other than the existence of 2 males.
Correct.
And in addition to being submitted the actual pieces of evidence where you submitted known samples of buccal swabs from male individuals from the Metro Crime Laboratory?
Yes.
And were you able to include or exclude any of those individuals from Exhibit 8A?
No, I was not.
Now looking at Exhibit 8B, describe that.
That is the DNA extract from swabs of middle of yellow karate belt.
And your results.
The Y-Str profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 males. Due to the limited profile obtained and the unknown number of potential contributors, this profile is deemed to be inconclusive.
Again, you could neither include or exclude any of the individuals whose known samples were submitted to.
Correct.
Next, looking at Exhibit 8C.
8C was DNA extract from swabs of double-taped end of yellow karate belt.
And the results of the testing.
A limited Y-Str profile was obtained. Due to the limited profile obtained, interpretation of the profile is deemed to be inconclusive.
Again, the buccal swab submitted to you to be either included or excluded.
Correct.
Looking at Exhibit 8D.
8D is DNA extract from swabs of right hand fingernail clippings.
And the results.
A limited Y-Str profile was obtained. Due to the limited profile obtained, interpretation of the profile is deemed to be inconclusive.
So again, those known buccal swab profiles be neither included nor excluded.
Correct.
Looking at the next Exhibit 8E.
8E is DNA extract from swabs of left hand fingernail clippings.
And your testing and results.
A limited Y-Str profile was obtained. Exhibit numbers 8Q, J. Del Carpio, 8R, M. Ortega, 8S, Oscar Ortega, 8T, M. Jonathan Del Carpio, 8U, Bill Mowry, and 8V, Russell Wall, can all be excluded as the source of this Y-Str profile. Due to the limited profile obtained, results regarding the inclusion of Exhibit 8W, Roy Coons, are inconclusive.
Now, can you explain a little bit about when you obtain a partial, a limited Y-Str profile, are there certain standards by which your lab is constrained as to how you may interpret or what you may infer from a sample?
Yes, so when you're dealing with small amounts of DNA, you have to have enough to essentially generate a reliable result that you can say, okay, yes, I can include someone, I think this could possibly be this person, or no, this is not that person, does not match. So for this particular profile, there was not enough data for me to say that Roy Coons could be excluded, but at the same time, I cannot say that the DNA could have come from him. However, I was able to exclude the other individuals that I listed.
How many loci were you able to obtain in this profile?
In that particular profile, I had 7 locations.
And what is the threshold minimum for your particular
At the TBI, our policy, we have to have 8 locations in order to include someone.
Of those 7 locations, how many of those locations were consistent with the DNA profile of Roy Coons on those exact same locations?
For those particular 7 locations, they were the same, which is why I could not exclude him.
Moving on to Exhibit 8F.
That was DNA extract from cuttings of right breast swabs.
Any results?
No Y-Str profile was obtained.
Next.
8G was DNA extract from cuttings of ankle swabs, and for that, no Y-Str profile was obtained.
Next.
8H was DNA extract from swab from right shoulder, and no Y-Str profile was obtained.
8I.
8I is DNA extract from swab from right hand, and no Y-Str profile was obtained.
8J.
8J is DNA extract from swab of a stain on yellow karate belt.
Result.
No Y-Str profile was obtained.
8K.
8K is DNA extract from cuttings of left side of face swabs.
And result.
The Y-Str profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 males. Due to the limited profile obtained and the unknown number of potential contributors, this profile is deemed to be inconclusive.
And 8L.
8L is DNA extract from cuttings of right side of face swabs.
And results.
The partial Y-SDR profile obtained matches Exhibit 8W, Roy Coons. Therefore, Exhibit 8W, Roy Coons, cannot be excluded as the source of this male DNA profile. And, barring a mutation, neither can any of his paternal male relatives.
So can you explain what it is about Y-Str and that section dealing with paternal relatives?
So the Y chromosome is inherited paternally, so grandfather to father to son. It's inherited as a chunk, so it doesn't change from one generation to the next. So matching it to one individual person is not possible because it can match him or it can match any of those paternal male relatives. However, in this statement it said, barring a mutation. So a mutation is just a change in the DNA, which can sometimes happen from one generation to the next. So they might match at every location except for one, and then you actually could distinguish between them.
So if an individual's grandson had some mutation in his DNA, then the grandson's Y-Str might be different than the grandfather's.
It could be.
But absent there being some type of mutation like that, they should share the same Y-Str profile.
That's correct.
Now, in this section, going to still dealing with the extract from the cuttings of the right side of the face that we were just talking about. Can you explain what this next section is dealing with?
So this is the statistic that was generated for that particular profile.
And why do you generate a statistic?
It is a requirement anytime an inclusion or a match is made, you have to give weight to that match. So basically you're saying how rare is it to see this profile in a population.
Before we get into these numbers, can you tell me, your lab, and I think you have also done STR testing in the past, correct?
Yes.
Can you explain about Well, first of all, does STR testing likewise do that same kind of statistical approach relating to how rare is something in the population?
Yes.
Is the database that the STR results are compared to, is that the same population database as the Y-Str population database?
No. And the SDR database is using frequencies for every single individual marker that makes up a DNA profile, whereas the Y-Str database has to look at the profile as a whole, because like I said, it's inherited directly from person to person. It doesn't change between those people.
So is the population database that you have to run the profile against much larger in the STR analysis? Does that make sense? How would you explain the difference in the size of the population databases?
It's not really so much the size of the database as far as how many profiles are in there. For Y-Str profiles, we're essentially counting how many times do we see this profile in a given database. So we're potentially just adding numbers together. With the traditional SDR testing, you can actually multiply numbers together based on all those individual markers that I mentioned. So when you're multiplying all those numbers together, you can end up with a very big number versus just counting a profile in a set of other profiles.
So necessarily are the statistics or the numbers as you project them a different type of number than in STR analysis?
Yes, it's a completely different method that's used to calculate it.
And can you go forward and explain what you found the statistics to be, in this case dealing with the profile found on the right side of the base swab?
This Y-Str profile has been observed 0 times in 28,425 profiles in the US Y-Str database, and is expected to occur in approximately 1 in 2,304 African American males, 1 in 1,355 Asian males, 1 in 2,801 Caucasian males, 1 in 1,757 Hispanic males, and 1 in 1,280 Native American males.
Given the limitations in the Y-Str population database and how that is calculated, can there be any stronger statistical result than this?
Not with this database, no, because it's limited by how many profiles are in the actual database.
So if, hypothetically speaking, we were to take a known swab from General George here and then take, say, compare that to the database for his particular Y-Str profile, if it came back with a 0, I guess my point is, can you get any better statistics than this?
Not with this database, no.
And why do you break it down according to the population, according to the races?
So different Y-Str profiles may be more common in different ethnic groups. It's just sort of the nature of how the Y-Str profile is inherited paternally over time.
And looking at this, you were able to exclude other individuals?
Yes.
Who were you able to exclude?
J. Del Carpio, M. Artega, Oscar Artega, M. Jonathan Del Carpio, Bill Mowry, and Russell Wall were excluded.
Now going on to the exhibit 08M.
That is DNA extract from cuttings of right buttocks swabs.
And what were the results?
The partial Y-Str profile obtained matches Exhibit 8W, Roy Coons. Therefore, Exhibit 8W, Roy Coons, cannot be excluded as a source of this male DNA profile, and barring a mutation, neither can any of his paternal male relatives.
And going on, will you give the statistical information?
This Y-Str profile has been observed 0 times in 2,094 profiles in the U.S. Y-Str database and is expected to occur in approximately 1 in 187 African American males, 1 in 111 Asian males, 1 in 193 Caucasian males, 1 in 130 Hispanic males, and 1 in 80 Native American males.
And what is the difference in why on one of these you have a higher number and then the other you have a lower number?
So because of the profiles obtained, they were partial profiles, meaning there were some locations that were missing from that profile. And so sort of the set of profiles that they get searched against in the database may be different based on what locations are available. So this particular profile, I actually had more locations that I put into the database. However, at this time, there are not as many profiles with that many locations in that database. So there's just fewer to search against at this time.
Going to the next, 008N.
That is DNA extract from cuttings of right arm swabs.
And what were your results there?
Except for DYS 390, no DNA profile was obtained. Due to the limited information obtained, interpretation of this information is deemed to be inconclusive.
And then looking at 80.
80 is DNA extract from cuttings of neck swabs.
And your results?
No Y-Str profile was obtained.
And 8P.
8P is DNA extract from cuttings of left arm swabs.
And this is the left arm swab.
P,
Is that correct?
yes.
Okay. And what were your results there?
The partial Y-Str profile obtained matches Exhibit 8W, Roy Coons. Therefore, Exhibit 8W, Roy Coons, cannot be excluded as a source of this male DNA profile, and barring a mutation, neither can any of his paternal male relatives. This Y-Str profile has been observed 0 times in 26,009 profiles in the U.S. Y-Str database and is expected to occur in approximately 1 in 2,083 African American males, 1 in 1,337 Asian males, 1 in 2,488 Caucasian males, 1 in 1,592 Hispanic males, and 1 in 1,190 Native American males.
And the known male buccal swabs other than Roy Coons that were submitted to you were all excluded?
That's correct.
Now, we've noticed that on all three of these, the right face, the right buttocks, and the left arm, that they've all been referred to as partial profiles, correct?
Yes.
And we've noticed that in all three of those, your statistics are somewhat different. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that due to the fact that in each of those partial profiles, you are getting you're not getting the exact same part of the profile in all three of those?
That's correct.
So in the first part, you may get this part of a profile, and that gives you a certain statistic. But then you get this part of a profile here, and it gives you this statistic. And you might get this part of a profile here, and it gives you this statistic, correct?
Correct. It just depends on what locations you actually put into the database.
But on all three of those partial profiles, there was never an inconsistent part of that profile with Roy Coons.
Correct.
And I think that takes us to HQ through
Yes,
And would those be the known fecal swabs from the other males submitted to you other than Roy Coons?
correct.
And I think the part that I failed to print would be the 8W, and that would be what?
That is the DNA extract from buccal swabs from Roy Coons.
Turn these two exhibits. Just a couple of questions. Is there anything inconsistent, and you've done both STR and Y-Str, correct?
Correct.
Is there anything inconsistent with the fact that you are able to develop a Y-Str profile from a sample where STR analysis couldn't detect male DNA?
That is the correct statement, yes.
There is or is not anything consistent?
There,
Can that occur?
yes,
Okay, it's late in the day, too much water to talk. So there's nothing that would cause you any scientific concern that you're able to get Y-Str even though STR couldn't even detect male DNA.
correct.
And why is that?
So STR testing, you're looking at all the DNA in the sample. No matter how many people might be in that sample, it's going to look at everybody's. Y-Strs, we're able to look at only the male DNA in the sample. So if you have, say, a ton of female DNA, you may not even see that there's a male in that sample. So by looking at just the Y chromosome, we ignore all the female DNA in that sample.
I mean, no further questions, Charlie.
All right, Cross. Okay.
Y-Str testing uses the same process and short tandem repeat structure as using STR testing, correct?
Correct.
So when you're testing, though, for Y-Str, you're not even looking at the X chromosome.
That's correct.
So if there were X chromosomes in the samples that you had, your process ignores those and looks only for the Y.
Correct.
Now, the three samples that you have a partial match on, or have a partial Y-Str profile, do you know how big that profile is?
I can tell you, yes. For 8L, which was the right side of face, I got 22 out of a possible 27 locations. For 8M, which was the right buttocks, there's 25 out of 27 possible locations. And then 8P, left arm, there were 24 out of 27.
The statistics that you have in your report indicates the likelihood that you would expect to see this partial profile in a particular race.
Correct, randomly selecting someone that would have that same profile.
And it appears that despite the differences in the amount of material you had in these three partial samples, that in all three of those, according to your statistics, you're more likely to see these pieces of DNA first in Native American males, second in Asian males, third in Hispanic males, and then fourth in African American males, and fifth in Caucasian males, in all three samples.
I believe that is correct.
So it's more likely this partial profile was in an Asian, 5 times more likely than it would have been in a Caucasian.
I suppose.
Well, I don't want to
With-
suppose you're the expert,
I mean, based on those numbers, yes.
based on your numbers.
Yes.
Those aren't those numbers, those are your statistics
Well, the numbers that were generated using this particular database.
that you rely on routinely in your practice.
Yes,
And if it weren't scientific, you wouldn't rely upon it because that would be in violation of your ethics.
that's correct.
So your generated data says that it's 5 times more likely the partial profile belonged to an Asian male than to a Caucasian male.
Yes, however, you also need to consider how many profiles from those various groups are actually in the database.
Do you know that answer right now?
I can check. So for AL, it was searched against 6,896 African-American profiles, 4,056 Asian profiles, 8,383 Caucasian profiles, 5,258 Hispanic profiles, and 3,832 Native American profiles. So the number of profiles per population isn't the same.
So on that particular sample, there were more Caucasian samples to test against than there were any of the others.
That's just the components of that database. That doesn't change.
So it wasn't a situation where you had 4 Caucasians to test against and 10,000 Asians to test.
Correct.
In fact, you had more Caucasians to test against than you did.
Yes.
And still, with all of that, it appears that this partial profile 5 times more likely than an Asian male than Caucasian.
Yes.
Let me ask you about the Y-Str. I don't know if we addressed this, and I'll make sure it's clear. In a male strand of DNA, you have basically two intertwined strands, an X and a Y. We have 2 chromosomes, an X and a Y.
They're separate from each other, but
And in females, you only see the X.
you have 2 X's in a female. Yes.
And in a male, you have an X and a Y.
Correct.
And are those equally distributed in male DNA? You have your half X and half Y.
Yes.
So when you're doing Y-STR testing, you're only doing half of a potential strand of DNA in a man.
Well, your total DNA, you actually have 23 different pairs of chromosomes. So we're only looking at the gender chromosomes, which are X and Y. So you're only looking at the Y chromosome, but that DNA is contained within every cell within a man's body.
But not in women.
Correct.
So again, can you say if does Y make up half of a man's chromosomes, or could a man have 60% X and 40% Y? How does that work?
No, as far as this gender sex chromosomes, there's just one of each, so X and Y.
Okay. So again, we're not dealing with the entire amount of DNA in a man, we're dealing only with the Y chromosome DNA.
That's correct.
And of the samples that you have here, of the 3 that are in question, it's not a complete profile there.
Correct.
So we have a part of half that matches Roy Coons.
I don't know that I would agree with that statement.
Well, how would you put it?
I'm not really sure. Based on your phrasing, I'm not really sure what you're trying to convey.
What I'm conveying is it's part of his Y chromosome
Yes.
that matches him,
Yes.
but it also could match a number of other people, not just in his paternal line, because we don't have a full strand of Y-STR. Correct?
It could potentially match an unrelated male, but that's what the statistics were for.
And if we lined up, for example, in the first sample, 8L, in a row, 1,355 Asian males. The first one would match and then we would go 1,355, and then we would match again, right? Is that what that means?
Not necessarily.
What does that mean then?
So theoretically, we would have every single Y-Str profile in the world in a database. We don't have that. We only have, in this particular database, 28,000 samples collected from various parts of the United States that were submitted to be added to this database. The actual rarity of the profile could be less than the numbers that I gave. So this particular profile could be more rare than the numbers that were given. The numbers given are a conservative estimate, and that we do not expect the profile to be more common than that number.
Okay, let me stop you right there. So this number that's in your report that you're relying upon is an estimate.
Yes, every statistics is an estimate.
So this is not a firm number then either.
No, it's not.
Could be more, could be less.
It's unlikely to be more common than that number.
But it could be. Yes or no?
It's,
Awesome.
I guess it would depend on how many males are actually in that paternal line. There are a lot of factors that could determine that.
Did you receive a swab from Roy Coons Sr.?
I did not.
Did you receive a swab from any paternal uncle of Roy Coons Jr.?
I did not.
Did you receive a swab from any child, a male child of Roy Coons Jr.?
No, I did not.
So, according to your direct testimony, there could be genetic, what was the word you used, not anomaly, mutation.
Mutation.
If you had had those to test, there could have been genetic mutations that could have further included or excluded Roy Coons Jr.
Maybe not him specifically, but there's potential that one of his male relatives could have been excluded.
But you didn't receive those to test.
No, I did not.
And again, just so we're clear, the profiles that you have are partial. You don't even have a complete strand of Y-Str DNA in any of these samples.
I do not have a complete Y-Str profile.
Let me ask you another question, and I'm not talking about strand now, I'm talking about, I guess the word is amount, quantitative amount, material?
Yes.
Am I using that term correctly?
Yes.
Let's hope so. So if you put, for example, 8, which one? 8L, first one. And you weighed that out, the amount of DNA material you had to test there, how much material did you have?
There was about there would have been about 20 to 25 cells worth of DNA added into the reaction that I performed for that sample.
Is there a weight assigned to a cell? Is that about?
The unit is 6.6 picograms of DNA per cell.
I don't know if we've heard picogram yet, Ms. Raw. What is that? What's a picogram?
Well, a gram, if you think of with a paper clip, weighs a gram. If you're familiar with old like sugar cubes, that's a gram. So a picogram would be if you took that and broke it into 1 billion pieces. That is 1 picogram, so very, very small.
So how many picograms were in this sample that you tested in the 8L?
So without a calculator, I can't give you an exact number.
I have one if you need it.
Thank you. So there were 262 approximately picograms contained within that entire sample extract of DNA.
What's the next step up from a picogram?
An anagram?
Can you convert picograms to nanograms? Maybe
Sure.
back in the ballpark number we've been talking about?
For nanograms, it would be 0.26.
A quarter of 1 nanogram. And a nanogram is how many? What percentage of a gram?
Nanogram would be 1 million. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
I believe that's correct, 1 million gram. 1 million gram.
Okay, I'm sorry. 1 microgram would be 1 million. 1 nanogram is 1 billion. 1 picogram is 1 dodecillion.
That's a new one on me.
It's factors of 1,000, so you're going from 6, which would be the micro, 9, which is nano, and 12 would be pico.
And we're past pico. What came after pico?
We're stopping at pico. That's as small as we're going.
So you can see that with the naked eye?
No.
You'd have to have an electron microscope to drill down on that to begin to see that?
Yes.
Not the kind you have, not a 400X one you had in high school chemistry.
No.
And that's the amount of material that you had that sampled to come up with a partial Y-Str profile.
Yes.
All right. Let me ask you about one other thing on this summary. When you can't exclude someone, that doesn't automatically mean they are included as well, right?
That's correct, yes.
Some people you can exclude because they'll have a weird peak that you don't see anywhere else. I'm using the term peak for like one of
Yes.
the wheels. And so that's easy. You can, if you see that peak, you can say excluded.
Correct.
Just because you don't have that doesn't mean someone is included.
That's correct.
So for example, in the sample in 8B, the left-hand fingernail clippings, while you could not exclude Mr. Coons, you could not include him.
That's correct.
Sample is just too small.
Correct.
And we're already apparently dealing with very, very small samples to begin with.
Yes.
Just one moment, Your Honor. I think that's all the math for today.
All right, deep breath.
Unfortunately, not all the math, Judge. Before we get to a little bit more math, there were some questions about genetic mutation, and if, let's say, Mr. Coons had a male son and you tested his DNA and it had a genetic mutation, would that affect in any way your comparison to Roy Coons' Y-Str profile to the sample evidence?
No.
In fact, if his son had a mutation to his Y-Str, that would exclude him from the sample evidence.
Yes.
Now, I hate to ask this because I hate math, but on this whole number situation, you mentioned, where did the 0.26 nanograms come from?
So
I mean, for what piece of evidence was that?
I'm sorry. That was from the right side of face.
On the
swabs.
right side of Johanna Ortega's face.
Yes.
Now, hypothetically speaking, if a sock was collected from a tent area where Roy Coons resided with his clothing, and on the inside of that sock, testing showed 0.0795 nanograms of DNA, how much larger is the DNA sample on Johanna Ortega's face than on that sock? .26 on the face, .079 on the sock.
Is the .079 the concentration of DNA or the total amount in the sample?
.079 nanograms over microliter.
Okay. So that's how much DNA would be in 1 microliter, which again is a very small amount of liquid. So the equivalent of that for this particular sample would be .0056 nanograms per microliter.
And that would be what would be on her face,
Yes.
okay? Now, my next question. On the partial profiles, in your testing, the partial profile you test for has a maximum of 27 locations, correct?
That's correct.
So if you have 3 partial profiles, 27 plus 27 plus 27 would give us 81, correct?
If you're looking at the total,
Total number, I know that some of them
Locations.
repeat, but I'm talking about just 27, 27, and 27
yes.
times on the number of profiles. You have 22 times consistent, 25 times consistent, and 24 times consistent. Just statistically, that would give us 71 times consistent out of 81 possibilities.
Yes.
And then if you add up the profile that you were able to develop from the partial profile that you were unable to call because of the limited data, the 7 loci under the fingernail, that was 7 out of 7, correct?
7 out
Consistent.
of potentially,
Out of 27?
yes.
27 possible, but of
Right.
the ones you were able to locate that you actually looked at.
There are only 7, yes.
And in summary, you did not find Mr. Coons' Y-Str and that DNA on any of the other multiple items that were submitted to you, correct?
Correct.
Have other questions?
All right. Okay, thank you. You're excused. All right, we usually try to take a break about an hour after lunch, so we're going to take about a 10-minute break. All right?
All rise. We'll be in a 10-minute recess. Is you need to?
Okay, let me know when you can, just so I can know whether you did or